Before dinner even started, my mother-in-law leaned forward, pointed her authority straight at my 7-year-old daughter and said, cold as tile, no dinner tonight, straight to bed. My husband didn't say a word, I did. I smiled, the kind of smile you wear when something inside you is already decided, and I said, we already had dinner. Thank you. 5 minutes later, I was upstairs packing a suitcase. What happened after that left every single person in that house stunned, because they thought I was the quiet one, the grateful one, the one who would never actually leave. They forgot I was also a mother. Sometimes families don't explode with drama. Sometimes they just crack. One sentence in the wrong tone to the wrong person, and you suddenly realize, oh, this is it. This is the last one. That night, that sentence was aimed at a little girl who just wanted to tell us about her school project. Let me back up. My name is Lauren. My husband is Mark. Our daughter is Lily. And the woman who thought her house was a courtroom was Evelyn, Mark's mother. It was a normal evening in her house, and by normal, I mean I was cooking. Evelyn was standing nearby telling me how I could have done it differently. Mark was on his phone. Lily was talking, happy, loud, full of life, the way a 7-year-old should be. We sat down to eat. Lily started telling us about school. She'd memorized a poem and she wanted to say it. She spoke over Evelyn without meaning to. She was just excited. That's what happened. Evelyn set her fork down with that sharp little clink, straightened her back like a judge about to pass sentence, and said, in that cold, careful voice she used when she wanted everyone to remember whose roof we were under, you were rude just now. You don't interrupt adults, so no dinner. Go to your room. I literally heard Lily's breath stop. Her eyes widened. Not angry, just confused. Like, what did I do? All she wanted was to talk. She didn't even know she'd broken a rule. I looked at Mark. He didn't even lift his eyes. He just kept moving food around on his plate like his mother hadn't just denied food to his own child. Evelyn followed up with, and no back talk. In this house, kids don't act like that. In this house, that was her favorite line. Inside, I was burning. On the outside, I was calm stone. I folded my napkin. I stood up. I walked to Lily, took her hand, and said, evenly, politely, so clearly, we already ate. But thank you. Come on, sweetheart. Her little hand was trembling inside mine. The room lit heavy. Even Evelyn didn't expect me to say that. Mark still said nothing. We went upstairs. Change into comfy clothes, I told Lily. She nodded right away because she's a good kid. Not the disrespectful kid her grandmother was trying to make her into while she changed. I opened the closet and pulled down a suitcase I had tucked behind old winter coats. Yes, I already had one ready, not because I was dramatic. Because I was prepared. Clothes for a few days. Important documents. Lily's tablet and charger. My laptop. And the folder I'd started putting together a month earlier, printed emails. Receipts, bank statements, proof. 15 minutes later, there was a knock on the bedroom door. It was Mark. You serious right now? He asked through the door. It was just dinner. She was acting like a brat. Mom's not wrong. I didn't answer, because if he actually believed his mom was wrong, he would have said it downstairs. I walked right past him in the hallway. I went to the kitchen. Left the spare house key on the counter, put on my coat, zipped Lily into hers. It felt like I was watching myself from the outside, like I was playing a braver version of me that I'd been secretly building for months. 10 minutes later, we were standing on the curb, my daughter in one hand, suitcase in the other. Jenna pulled up, my friend, my lifeline. I didn't even have to explain much. I just said, not everything, but enough. She knew. In the car, Lily whispered, Mom, did I really misbehave? I turned to her, squeezed her hand, and said, no, honey. You were wonderful. Sometimes grown-ups forget what it's like to be a kid. She nodded. I saw relief flash in her eyes, but only for a second. Because kids can tell when adults are wore out. Jenna let us stay in her guest room. That night I didn't sleep. I sat on the floor, back against the bed, laptop open, papers all around me. Not crying, not falling apart, just focused, mechanical. I sorted bank statements. I downloaded old contracts. I scrolled through invoices. I organized every freelance payment I'd gotten in the last 2 years. I pulled up school expenses, grocery bills, clothing receipts, emails from Lily's teacher, notes from clients, because here's what nobody in that house wanted to admit out loud. Mark had lost his job almost 2 years ago, and he never really came back from it. Not in any real "I'm the provider" way. We'd been living on my income, but in that house I was treated like an extra, a tolerated guest, a she should be grateful person. Well, now I wasn't invisible. Now I was documented. 2 days later, I was sitting in front of a family law attorney. He flipped through my folder slowly, not rushing, not interrupting. When he looked up, his voice was calm but not casual. "You have a case," he said. "A strong one, actually. Stronger than most." "I'm not trying to destroy anyone," I said. "I just want my daughter to have a home. A real one, where nobody humiliates her for existing." He nodded. "Then let's make sure you get it." Some people would have said, "Come on, it was just dinner. Grandmas are strict." No, it wasn't just dinner. It was the last one, after months and months of tiny cuts. Dismissals, controls, rules, corrections, and me biting my tongue because I was scared of being homeless with a child. I didn't throw things. I didn't scream. I didn't make a scene. I walked out, but I didn't run. Walked out, and then I came back with paperwork. That's where the real story actually starts. That night at Jenna's, Lily fell asleep curled up on one side of the couch, her little hand still clutching my sleeve like she was afraid I'd disappear if she let go. I sat beside her, staring at the ceiling, but in my head I was looking backward, way past dinner. Back to when this actually started. It started the day Mark said, "Just a couple of months. Until I find a new job. We can't keep paying rent." And he was right, rent was getting tight. I was covering everything with freelance work, social media stuff, copy, small marketing jobs. It wasn't amazing, but it was steady. I said gently, "We can't just move in with your mom. We're adults. We have a child." He smirked like I was being dramatic. "Exactly. We have a child. Mom has a huge house. She'd be happy to help." And to be fair, at first Evelyn was happy. She cleaned out the whole second floor. She put up new curtains in Lily's room. She baked. She smiled. I wanted to be wrong about her, but by the end of week one, she was telling me the proper way to make beds. By week 2, she'd rearranged my pots and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "This isn't a college dorm." By the end of month 1, she was telling Lily, "Girls don't behave like that in Grandma's house." Just because Lily was quietly singing along to a song on her tablet, I was working nights. Days were for school runs, cooking, cleaning, doing my part. Mark sank deeper into the armchair, half scrolling job sites, half disappearing into the PlayStation when it got too frustrating. Little by little, he faded out of being a partner. It was like he rejoined his mother's team, and I was. Extra. Sometimes at dinner, I felt like the fourth thing at the table after Mark, Evelyn, and the house. 6 months in, the roof started leaking. Mold in the bathroom. Drips in the corner. Mark sighed. "We should probably fix it. But we can't afford it." So I hired a contractor. I paid. Out of my account. Mark didn't even ask how much it cost, because it's not our house. But everything that got repaired in that place came from my hands, my account, my effort, and still every breath in that house whispered, "You don't belong here." A year before we moved in, Mark's dad had died and the house got passed to Evelyn and Mark, split 50/50ths. I didn't contest it. I didn't make drama. It was his family's house, but then we moved in. And that changed everything. One day, Mark said casually, not even looking up from his laptop, "Oh yeah, Mom's lawyer finalized the title. The house is officially in her name and mine." I blinked. "And me?" He shrugged. "You're not on it. It's not ours. It's mine." That's when I knew. In that house, I was temporary. One afternoon, I tried to start the washing machine. It wouldn't turn on. Evelyn had changed the lock code. I asked her, and she said, "You don't load it properly. I don't want you ruining the machine." And something in my throat tightened because that was the moment it became clear. I wasn't a wife in that house. I wasn't even a full mother. I was a tolerated inconvenience. A woman who should be grateful she was allowed to stay. Mark never took my side. "Come on, Lauren, it's just Mom. You overreact." Once he even said straight to my face, "You act like a guest." And honestly, that's how they made me feel. That night, for the first time, I thought, what if I just left? But leaving wasn't simple. Not with a child. Not with no housing. Not when they could easily flip the story and tell everyone I abandoned my marriage, that I was unstable, emotional, not thinking clearly. I'd seen it happen to other women. I knew how fast a story changes if you have nothing in your hand but the truth. So I didn't leave. I prepared. I made a folder on my laptop. Documentation. Everything went into it. School emails. Medical forms. Bank records. Utility bills. Grocery receipts. Contractor invoices. Proof that I was the one keeping that house running while everyone else pretended. It was automatic. Mark hadn't really worked in over 1.5 years. Everything Lily ate, wore, touched, I paid for. Even Christmas, all the gifts were from me. And still in that house, he was the man of the house. That night at Jenna's, she knocked on the guest room door. "You awake?" I opened it. She was holding a kettle and 2 mugs. Her eyes went straight to the papers all over the floor. "You kept all of this?" "All of it?" I nodded. 2 years' worth. She sat down. "You're incredible, Lauren. But listen to me. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. You're not alone now. You don't have to take one more day of their crap." I looked at her and said, quiet but steady, "I'm not walking into the unknown. And I'm not walking away empty-handed. They think I broke. They forgot who I am. I'm a mother. And I'm done waiting." Mark got the divorce notice on a Friday. That same evening, the storm began. First came the calls. I'd already silenced my phone, not to stop them, just so the buzzing wouldn't make me jump. He called 6 times in a row. Then the messages started. "Have you lost your mind? Who do you think you are? You think you can take your little slice and walk away like none of this mattered? This is my house. My inheritance. You've got nothing but attitude." I closed the screen. It was all going exactly how I expected. They never believed I'd actually go through with it. Now they couldn't believe I might actually win. A few hours later, Evelyn texted. Her tone made it sound like I stole family jewelry. "You lived here for free. You ate our food. We took you in. You destroyed this family and now you want money?" I read it and thought, what's she going to say when she sees the receipts, the bank transfers, the income statements? 2 years. I paid for everything. The next day. Unknown number. I didn't answer. Second time. Didn't answer. Third time. I recognized the voice. Megan, Mark's cousin. The one who sends Christmas cards and always says, "Things aren't like they used to be." "Hey, Lauren. So I heard some stuff and I know it's not my business, but are you sure you want to go through with all this? Divorce lawyers? Is it really worth it?" "Yes," I said, calm, clear. "It's just Mark says you've been kind of on edge. He's worried. Says you're acting unstable and he's scared for Lily." My grip tightened on the phone. Then I exhaled. "Tell Mark that I'm the one worried for Lily," I said. "Because he hasn't worked in 2 years, hasn't looked her in the eye at dinner, and hasn't paid for a single textbook." She hesitated. Well, I mean, don't take it literally. How else should I take it? She hung up. And that's when it began. Their campaign. Lazy but mean. Mark told mutual friends I'd snapped. That I had rage issues. That I was keeping his daughter away. One guy DM'd me, "Hey, is it true you're not letting Mark see Lily?" He said you're threatening him. I didn't reply. I screenshotted it. I sent it to my lawyer. This isn't just a divorce anymore, I told him. This is harassment. He was calm. They're hoping to scare you. To push you into backing down. We're not reacting, we're acting. They've got emotion. You've got evidence. That's what matters. I said, they're going to claim the house isn't mine. He said, and they'll be right, the property was inherited. It legally belongs to Evelyn and Mark. But he flipped through the file. You were married when he got his share. You lived in that house for 2 years, you paid for its upkeep, and we have records. Roof repair, plumber, windows, all in your name. All from your account. We're not trying to take their house. We're filing for fair compensation for your financial contributions as part of the marital estate. It's reasonable. Even if they fight, any judge will see it. And I felt it, pressure in my chest, but also peace. Like air before a deep breath. A week later, Mark filed an informal request for temporary custody visitation, more pressure than real law. Through my attorney, I responded, Lily is not a pawn. Her father may request visitation through formal channels in a neutral setting with written consent from both parties. Their reply was fast. Your bitterness is destroying everything. She hate you for this when she grows up. I deleted it, then I gave my lawyer everything. 2 years of tax returns, utility, grocery, clothing receipts, contractor invoices, and my name Lily's school record. With a thank you note from her teacher, a character letter from a client, screenshots from Jenna confirming Mark's lack of involvement. It felt like putting on armor. Documents. Don't yell, they don't gossip, they don't panic. They just say. Here is the story. Later that week, my lawyer called. They're spiraling, he said. Too many facts, too few counters. Their side is cracking. Evelyn was reportedly furious. Mark is flailing. Then came the real signal, a letter from their attorney. What sum of compensation would your client consider acceptable to resolve this matter out of court? My lawyer smiled. They know they're going to lose. Now they just want to make it look like it was their idea. I was at Jenna's kitchen table, coffee in hand, when Mark texted one more time, You humiliated me. You humiliated all of us. You want money? You'll lose Lily. I'll prove you're unstable. You're nothing. You've always been nothing. I read it. And I smiled because if I was truly nothing, he wouldn't be trying this hard to erase me. They went quiet for a few days. Then they switched tactics, calling former coworkers to ask about my mood. Swings, emailing Lily's school anonymously to say she wasn't in a safe environment. I forwarded everything. My lawyer said, That's panic. Panic is good. A week later, Jason, their family attorney, called. His tone was perfect. Lawyer, measured, polite, sterile. Lauren, good afternoon. I wanted to discuss the possibility of a settlement. We've reviewed your materials. Let's just say we've come to the conclusion that prolonging the process would not be advisable. I knew exactly what that meant. They'd seen the full picture. They knew I wasn't bluffing, were prepared to offer a compensation amount, he continued, in exchange for a full waiver of any property claims. Naturally, this is not an admission of Jason, I said, cutting in. The amount I'm prepared to accept is $120,000 in return. I'll waive any claim to Mark's share of the house. It will be notarized and the case closed. There was a pause. Then I'll inform my clients. I believe they'll agree. Later, Jenna told me what she heard from a relative. Evelyn was screaming. I'd rather burn that money. Mark just sat there. Their lawyer explained gently, if you don't settle, this goes to court. Then comes a financial audit. Lily's school may be asked to testify. Mark's share of the property can be scrutinized. A judge could order you to pay more, or restructure the house, or even force a partial sale and tank the value. And it will all be public. That was the line. Public shame was worse to Evelyn than money. The next day, I got confirmation. The amount was approved. Payment in 10 business days, final agreement to be signed. And NOTARIZED. I remember sitting at the bank, the notary flipping through pages. My lawyer beside me. Everything quiet. Everything unfolding exactly how I had planned on that first night on Jenna's floor with papers all around me. Part of me still expected someone to burst in and shout, "Stop." We changed our minds. But no one did. The documents were signed. The funds were transferred, $120,000. This wasn't revenge. This was compensation. For the silence, for the swallowed anger, for the fear of being called ungrateful, for the times I couldn't even hang a towel wherever I wanted. A month later, Lily and I moved into our own place, small, bright, on a quiet street near a park. I chose it. I signed the lease. I paid the deposit. The place was a little old, but it was ours. We painted the walls. Lily helped with decals, stuck stars on our wall. We picked wallpaper for her room. We laughed. We even argued over curtain colors, but it was fun. Not humiliating. In the kitchen, I finally bought the espresso machine I wanted. I hung a chalkboard for recipes. No one corrected me. No one said, "That's not how we do it in this house." Mornings, I heard Lily singing in the shower. I sat on the balcony with tea, watching the sun hit the windowsill. I wasn't scared anymore, not of being kicked out, not of being called nothing. Mark texted once or twice. "Can't believe you wanted to destroy the family. You got what you wanted. Hope it made you feel big. One day Lily will learn the truth." I didn't answer, because Lily already knows the truth. She lived it. One night we were baking cookies and Lily said, "Mom, now cinnamon smells like home." I froze just for a second, then I smiled and said, "That's because this is home, sweetheart." Just us, no yelling, no tension, no shadow in the hallway. Our photos on the wall, her magnets on the fridge, our keys on the hook by the door. Not borrowed. Not temporary. Hours. Later, I got the final letter from my lawyer. All parties have fulfilled their obligations. The case is officially closed. I saved it, not because I was scared, because it was proof that I didn't run away in hysteria. I stood my ground. I walked away with my head high. On Thanksgiving, Mark called one last time. I saw his name. I hit decline. I put the phone on silent and went back to the kitchen with my daughter. I don't rush anymore. Not for anyone. Not for any house. That isn't my. There are no more voices telling me I'm nobody. I'm Lauren. I'm the mother. I'm the head of my household. I'm someone who didn't collapse. I rebuilt. This wasn't a victory parade. This was restoration. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. And now it's quiet and we're finally home.